get good results. So pay attention to correctly using the right corresponding fasting. Because into engizokhuluma ngayo enye yayo on fasting izos-assist. Let's look in the Bible. Sizothatha amaphuzu amathathu noma mane, which I call biblical examples of fasting you can choose from. Biblical example of fasting you can choose from, which means ungakhetha that is corresponding to a situation or a fastela. It's always important to have a reason why you are fasting. There are many reasons to fast, but you have to find the corresponding one. The one that corresponds nomehambisana nesimo salento ifastela. Number one, the book of Judges, chapter number 20, verse 25 and 26. Ifundeka kanje. This time, when the Benjamites came out from Gibeah to oppose them, they cut down another 18,000 Israelites, all of them armed with swords. Then all the Israelites, the whole army, went up to Bethel, and there they sat weeping before the Lord. They fasted that day until evening and presented burnt offerings and fellowship offering to the Lord. So mawuyifunda yonke le ndaba kwakunempi yabaphakathi kwabantwana bakwa-Israyeli nama-Benjamites, sizwe sakwa-Benjamin. Impi yayisuke ngokuthi kukhona umuntu wayesuke kwa-Benjamin watravela, noma wayesuke kwa-Israyeli watravela, waseshonelwa ilanga, wayesecela indawo yokulala, wangayithola indawo ephephile, wagcina elala endaweni engaphephile, wafika igcwele zanukubeza umkakhe, wayesethatha icase wayiletha kubaholi. Indlela abayitreata ngayo yaba yinto engahambanga ngendlela eyamgculisa, to show ukuthi isenzo abasenzile simbi kangakanani. Wayesebulala umkakhe, babembulele, wamqoba, wameka ama-piece. Wayesethumela esizweni saka-Israyeli, this is what they have done to my wife, I need justice. Kwase kusuka ke, ngiyanqamulela munesikhathi ufuna uqale from verse 1, kwasuka impi ke between the Benjamites and the Israelites. It's a civil war. Kulwa umkhaya, kulwa abantu besizwe sonke ngenxa ye-injustice ebiyenzekile. So ekulweni kwabo, i-first round bahlulwa, the second round bahlulwa, which means they did not have any strength equal to their enemies. Then that led to them deciding we need to run to a stronghold. We need to find help, and our help comes from the Lord. How do we invite God to be part of this civil war and favor us? Which means this is a war between human and human. It's a battle between families. Each part wants to win. they have one God they should go to. The Benjamites, they know about Jehovah. The Israelites know about Jehovah. So if they need help to conquer their brothers, God should see who is really on the side to be favored. God cannot be biased. So can you imagine ukuthi umuntu yakuNkulunkulu eyokhuleka ethi ngisize iphumelele le interview angaqashwa lo yokuqashwe mina. Nalomunye naye uyakuNkulunkulu futhi athi Nkosi cela ungiphe lo msebenzi angaqashwa lo yaqashwe mina. So uNkulunkulu fanele achoose ukuthi ufavor bani kulaba babili. Niyayibona into esimbeka kuyo uNkulunkulu. Bese siya kuye futhi nangendlela engatshengisi ukumncenga. Sithi nje uNkulunkulu akakhethe mina ngoba why are you deserving ukuthi kuprefer wena more than the other? What are you doing to show how much you depend on God? Wenzani ukutshengisa ukuthi uma ekwenzela uNkulunkulu uzosala nesifundo esishoyo ukuthi kungisizile ukwenza kanje uze ngithola umusa kuNkulunkulu. Uza njengomuntu oqualifyayo noma uza njengomuntu odinga ukwenzelwa umusa. The story of these people si relevant ukuthi sifunde uTokso. Alibonga malenkosi. So when they kept on fighting and they were conquered, they had to now change the way they approach God for assistance. Because it's clear the other side or the enemies, nabo ba consulta kuNkulunkulu. They should also consult God, but how should they approach God to show ukuthi uNkulunkulu should favor them? Yini lezo kwenza uNkulunkulu akhethe bona? Ngoba nalaba abanye bangabaki. Bakhala kuye, bacela kuye. So in that case, uNkulunkulu ubuka injustice that has been committed. Who deserve God's judgment? Noma ngaba namandla abe nendlela yokuzidefenda, but when God is involved, he has to take a side of someone oyena ofanele ukuba akhwithwe kulesi simo. He's a God of justice. Alibonga malenkosi. So as they were fighting each other, there came a time when the Benjamites came out from Gibeah to oppose the Israelites. They cut down 18,000 Israelites, all of them armed with swords, which means they were stronger than the Israelites. They defeated them armed, which means their weapon did not work for them. Arm can be your education, your qualification, can be in the better position, but someone defeating you, yet equipped with all the qualifications. What could be the secret of the other person? Can only be the favor of God. Number 26. Then all the Israelites, because they were defeated, 18,000 armed, they were defeated. The whole army went up to Bethel. So now they are no longer relying on the weapons. They are no longer relying on their own cleverness, whatever that is carnal they've been using. This time, we can't continue to fight like this. They had to agree, we need to go to the stronghold. We need to win God's favor on our side. So the Israelites army went up to Bethel. Bethel, it was a place of where the Ark of Covenant was. It's a place where the priests, the prophets were. If you start about Bethel, you will always realize that it's associated with a place of favor. Albonga Malengos. And there they sat weeping. So they positioned themselves in the place where they are crying. They believed sizozwakala better when we go there. I think I recall ngivula le ndawo ngithi it's a place of prayer. As much as you pray at home, you pray anywhere, but make use of these premises. Njengendawo yokuzokhuleka ukhale enkosini nganoma yini. Because it is marked as a place of meeting for God's intervention. So they sat there and wept. So weeping there was not to weep for comfort to each other. They were crying to God. They were telling God, look how defeated, how helpless we are. Look at what their enemies are doing. But isimo esiholele kule fight. There's an injustice that has been committed. A woman was raped, a woman was killed, cut at pieces, distributed like a meat. This is something is called abomination in our nation. This is cruelty. We need intervention from God. They started by fighting by themselves, revenging, but they saw that these people are stronger than us. They defeat us even if they are wrong. They conquer us even if they are wrong. So we can't continue like this. Justice must be served. Then, when they went there and sat down from mourning, weeping, the manner in which they will do, everybody imagine, think about this, they cry. They reach a point where they stop crying, thinking, start again to cry. It's no place to discuss or talk about other things. If we discuss, we talk about ububi obehlele isizwe. Sikhala sibalisa ukuthi manyala mani lawa sehlela. Bubi buni lobo bunje. We are expressing our grievances about what has happened, but unto the Lord. Aleso sikhathi ke abantu bakhona kuthiwa babekhala bedabula impahla beyithele ngenhlabathi beginqike phansi. They will show how broken they are. They do that because they want God to see how helpless they are. They spent the whole day in that place. As they were doing that, they decided that it's not time for pleasure. We can't eat. It's not time to feast. Yet in the nation, in our tribe, kukhona umuntu owenza into engasiqhatha noNkulunkulu masingabenzi bulungiswa sizoyithola nathi sihlanganyele esonweni salomuntu owenza ukukhohlakala kunje. So they fasted that day until evening and presented the burnt offering and fellowship offering to the Lord. So uma ufunda iBhayibheli uzorealize ukuthi wawungayi empini ungaqalanga uaphize uNkulunkulu. So they will pray, they will offer offerings, burnt offering, which means we don't eat, we burn everything to the Lord. That this is how we are showing ukuthi God, please, even if we ought to have a share, but we sacrifice all this to win your favor. Take everything so that you can give us your mercy. Fellowship was meant to deal with ability to tolerate each other, because we can't fight and win divided. Fellowship offering had to do with attracting God's mercy or God's presence to be with us. We are fellowshipping with God and fellowshipping with one another. Once you hear offering of fellowship in the Bible, it has to do with God being part of us and you too being part of the another person. Sometimes it's a hypocrisy to want to win God's favor, but you have issues with one another. And we want to achieve something together, and we need God to work with us. Better if you are alone, but if you need another person, kufanele nivumela nibe inhliziyo nye ukuze uNkulunkulu akwazi ukusupporta lento eniyenzayo. iBhayibheli lithi once naba babili noma bathathu kufanele nivumelane ukuze uNkulunkulu abe engxenye yalokho. Praise the Lord.